They said he killed 10 men before he turned 20. They said his eyes were as cold as the barrel of his gun. And they said, anyone who crossed his path never lived to tell. But when Sheriff Dalton's daughter looked into those same eyes, she didn't see a killer. She saw a man haunted by something darker than sin, something that called to her heart in ways even heaven wouldn't forgive. This is how the lawman's daughter fell for the town's most wanted outlaw. Dust rolled like smoke across the dry streets of Silvercreek. The town hadn't seen him in 7 long years, but they still whispered his name like a curse. Jace Holloway. He rode in slow, black hat tipped low, the sun glinting off the scar that cut across his cheek like a mark of fate. Children ran inside, shutters slammed. Even the saloon piano stopped mid-tune. At the sheriff's office, Abigail Dalton looked up from the ledger when she heard the distant hoofbeats. Her father's hand went to his revolver automatically. "Who's riding in?" she asked, stepping to the window. Sheriff Dalton's jaw tightened. The Holloway boy. Her eyes widened. "I thought he was dead." The sheriff loaded his rifle. "So did I." Jace dismounted in front of the saloon, his boots crunching gravel. 100 eyes burned holes through him from behind curtains and door frames. He didn't look left or right, just straight ahead. Abigail watched from across the street, her pulse quickening. He didn't look like a monster. He looked tired, dusty, human. "Stay away from him, Abby," her father warned. "That man's a storm waiting to happen." But as the night fell and lightning cracked over Silvercreek, she couldn't shake the image of the outlaw's eyes. Cold, yet wounded. 2 nights later, rain swept through town, washing dust into mud. Abigail left the apothecary late, her lantern flickering in the downpour. The street was empty, until she heard a low voice behind her. "Careful, Miss Dalton. Streets get slick this time of night." She spun around. There he was. Jace Holloway, coat soaked, leaning against a lamppost like he belonged to the shadows. "You shouldn't sneak up on people," she said, clutching her lantern. "Wasn't sneakin'," he said with a half-smile. "Just watching out. Silvercreek ain't safe after dark. From men like you." His smile faded. "From men worse." For a moment, thunder filled the silence between them. Then she saw it, the tremor in his hand, the pain in his eyes. "You were bleeding," she said, noticing the crimson spreading beneath his coat. He glanced down, almost annoyed. "Just a graze." She hesitated, then lifted her lantern higher. "Come with me. My father's not home yet. I'll fix it." "Sheriff's house?" He chuckled low. "You got guts, Miss Dalton. Or maybe I just see what others don't." That night, beneath the dim light of her parlor lamp, she cleaned the bullet wound in his shoulder. He didn't flinch once, only watched her, like he hadn't seen kindness in a long time. "Why'd you come back?" she finally asked. He looked out the window. To bury the past, or to face it. Their eyes met, and in that moment the line between outlaw and savior blurred. Rumors spread fast. The sheriff's daughter seen tending the outlaw. The man everyone feared walking the same path as the lawman's girl. Sheriff Dalton confronted her. "Are you out of your mind, Abby? That man's dangerous." "He's not who they say he is," she insisted. "Someone framed him." Her father slammed his fist on the table. "You're letting your heart blind you. Holloway's hands are soaked in blood." "But whose?" she whispered. Later that night, she met Jace by the old barn outside town. The moon hung low, painting silver on the broken fence. "Why'd you never defend yourself?" she asked. He exhaled, voice heavy. "Because the man who died was my brother. And the man who killed him wore a star." Her breath caught. "You mean my father?" "No," he said, eyes dark. "Your father's partner, Sheriff Claiborne. He blamed me, and your pa helped cover it up." Abigail's heart twisted. Everything she knew about justice, about right and wrong, shattered like glass. Jace stepped closer, his voice trembling. "I didn't come back for revenge, Abby. I came to stop a war. Claiborne's running guns through Silvercreek. And your father, he don't see it." She swallowed hard. "Then let me help you." He shook his head. "You help me, you'll burn with me." "Maybe I'm already burning," she said, eyes glistening. Their lips met beneath the thundercloud sky. Desperate. forbidden, inevitable. By sunrise, the town was boiling. Claiborne's men filled the streets and the sheriff was caught in the middle, his badge heavy. His trust torn, Abigail tried to warn her father, but he wouldn't listen. "Jace Holloway's been poisoning your mind," Dalton shouted. "Then why's Claiborne hiding shipments behind the livery?" She snapped. The sheriff froze. That night, gunfire ripped through Silvercreek. Claiborne's gang turned on the sheriff's office, and Jace emerged from the shadows, guns blazing beside Abigail. The girl the town once called the Flower of Silvercreek now fought like a storm beside the man they all feared. Through smoke and chaos, Jace and the sheriff found themselves back to back, defending the same ground. "Never thought I'd fight beside an outlaw," Dalton muttered. "Never thought I'd save a sheriff," Jace replied. When Claiborne drew on Abigail, Jace didn't hesitate. He took the bullet meant for her. He collapsed in her arms, blood seeping through his vest. "No, Jace. Stay with me," she cried. His hand brushed her cheek. "Guess I finally found something worth dying for." Dalton aimed his rifle and took down Claiborne with one clean shot. The gang scattered into the desert, leaving Silvercreek in ruins, but free. As dawn broke, the sheriff knelt beside his daughter and the dying outlaw. He looked into Jace's fading eyes. "You saved my town. My girl," Dalton said quietly. "Maybe I've been wearing the wrong star all these years." Jace managed a weak smile. "Tell her." She was the light. Then he was gone. The sun rose slow that morning, bleeding through a haze of gun smoke and sorrow. Silvercreek lay silent. Windows shattered, the church bell cracked, streets littered with bullet shells glinting like tiny mirrors of the dead night before. They carried Jace Holloway up the hill behind the old chapel, the same hill where his brother had been buried years ago under false charges. Now, truth had finally caught up with the past, but at a cost that left the whole town hollow. Abigail Dalton walked beside the stretcher, her hands clenched tight, her dress torn and streaked with blood that wasn't hers. Her father followed behind, hat in hand, eyes shadowed. No badge, no words, just a heavy silence that felt like penance. They buried Jace at dawn. No preacher, no crowd, only 3 souls. The sheriff, his daughter, and the desert wind that had carried his legend for so long. Abigail knelt, placing his black hat at the head of the grave. The brim caught the sunlight, a final glint from the man everyone feared, and she whispered through trembling lips, "You were never the villain they said you were." Her father stepped closer, rough voice breaking. "I was part of that lie," he said. "I looked the other way when Claiborne blamed him. Told myself it was justice. But it was just easier." Abigail turned, tears cutting through the dirt on her face. "He forgave you, Pa. He said it with his eyes before he left." The sheriff swallowed hard, looking down at the grave. "No man like him ever deserved to die alone." She shook her head. "He didn't." The silence that followed was vast, filled only by the whisper of wind through dry grass and the cry of a distant hawk. Somewhere, a church bell tried to ring and cracked instead. The sound felt fitting, like the breaking of something sacred and old. Weeks passed. Years turned to decades. Abigail grew older, her hair touched with silver, but her spirit never dimmed. The hill became sacred ground. Folks called it Holloway's Rest. Lovers left flowers there. Outlaws left their pistols, and travelers stopped to pray. Some said her ghost still visited every sunset, sitting beside his grave as the sky burned red. Others swore that on the loneliest nights when the coyotes fell silent, they could see 2 silhouettes on the ridge, one in a white shawl, one in a black hat, watching over Silvercreek together. No one feared his name anymore. They told his story instead, how the sheriff's daughter fell for the man everyone feared, how love redeemed what law could not, and how even the coldest desert remembers the warmth of a good man's heart. They buried a legend that day, but legends never stay buried. They live in the wind, in the dust, in every soul brave enough to love beyond the rules. He was an outlaw. She was the lawman's daughter. And together they rewrote what justice meant. If this story touched your heart, share it. Let the world remember Jace Holloway, not as the man they feared, but as the man who proved that even in the wildest West, love can tame the storm. Because sometimes, the most dangerous man is the one who dares to love.